Hi, Lovebugs. Welcome to another episode of Girls Night. I am your host, Carly Doxtator. I know that I've had a few guests on lately, so this is actually going to be a solo episode. And I thought it would be fun for me to talk about my self-care routine. So, there's a lot of things that go into self-care. Um, there's so many different facets of it, and I feel like everybody has a different take on what that actually means. So this is my take. I would say as you're going into this episode, just take what resonates, right? Maybe you want to try something that I do, maybe you don't, maybe it doesn't work for you. I feel like self-care is something that is very individualized and very personalized, and that's okay because one thing might work for me, but it might not work for you, and vice versa. It's going to look a little bit different for everybody. So just check in with yourself with whatever new routine you kind of start. And if it doesn't work for you, it is okay to stop it. But today we are talking everything skincare, hair care, stress management, all sorts of stuff. So let's get into it. Hi, everyone. Life can get a little crazy, so let's talk about it. If you're ready to dive deeper, talk about what really matters, and feel a little more empowered, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Carly Doxtator. I'm a life coach, baker, dog mom of two, and you're always there for you, gal pal. And I'm so excited to have you join me. So grab your fuzzy socks, put on your comfy pants, and let's have girls' night. So, first and foremost, I feel like something that's very foundational about self-care is just making sure you're getting nutrients that you should be getting. So, I do take vitamins, but for me, I take a vitamin that my doctor prescribed me. It's called Mitocore. I'm not sure if y'all can, I think it's not over the counter. I'm not really sure. I go to a holistic doctor, so that's where I get it from. I just order it from the doctor's office. I can call in and order it from there. It's very B vitamin heavy, I noticed. So probably there was something in my chart that told my doctor that I needed that. But I take those, I take iron pills, and then usually I take fish oil. To be completely honest with y'all, I I ran out of fish oil and I have not gotten it in a little while, but fish oil is really good for you too. So just consult with your doctor. I take those vitamins because they help me feel better, especially iron. I've perpetually been known to have an iron deficiency ever since I was a little kid. So that's something that really helps me. But for me, I always take them with breakfast or with dinner because if I take vitamins on an empty stomach, it makes me really, really nauseous and it makes me want to throw up, which kind of defeats the purpose of taking a vitamin if you just throw them up afterwards. And sometimes I really just like to avoid taking it right before bed, just because if I take these vitamins, especially those mitochondria vitamins, I've noticed make me feel kind of sick if I take it before bed the next morning. I think just because I've been laying down and it's been sitting in my stomach for such a long time because I'm sleeping. So, personally, for me, I eat them with food. I like to avoid doing it right before I lay down for bed. But moving on to my hair care and my skincare, these are two aspects of self-care that I feel like I said this in the intro, but these are two aspects that are very, very individualized, right? Because our hair, our skin, it's all very different. We all have different reactions to different products with our skin, especially. So for me, with my skin, I tend to have pretty sensitive skin. So those women that have like 12-step skincare routines, that just does not work for me because if I add too many products into my skincare, then it makes me break out really bad. And that kind of defeats the purpose of having a skincare routine if it's just going to make you break out, right? Because none of us like breaking out. None of us like having zits on our face. But so for my skincare, I keep it really simple and really minimal. So I wash my face twice a day. And actually, I've switched to just washing my face once a day, which is something that's new for me. So in the morning, I just splash my face with water instead of actually using a soap of any kind on my face, which is different. And I've been doing this for a couple months now, and I've actually seen really good results from it. I feel like my skin doesn't get quite as oily throughout the day because everything, my hair, my skin tends to be on the oilier side. Um, but I've noticed that when I'm not using as much face wash during the day, then that's actually evened out a little bit. So what I've been doing, just water, just splashing with water, drying my face off, patting it dry in the mornings. And then at night, After a long day, I wash everything off, especially if I'm wearing makeup. I make sure to wash. I right now I'm using La Roche Posay. I think I'm saying that correctly. I have both their oil wash and their sensitive skin wash. So I use both of those, especially when I'm wearing makeup. Sometimes when I'm wearing makeup, I do two little rinses across my face just to make sure all of the makeup is off because sleeping in our makeup is really bad for our skin. It clogs our pores. It's better to wash it off and start with a clean face. When it comes to makeup, even when I wear makeup, I'm not even really wearing a foundation. I more so wear a tinted sunscreen. And that suffices for me, right? I just really don't like feeling like there's a bunch of heavy stuff on my face, and especially by the end of the at the end of the day, makeup just feels to me really gross to have on, especially if it's like a thick foundation. Like I said, I'm an oily girl, so like all those like glazed donut products, all of that kind of stuff. I don't need it because like your girls just got it naturally, you know? Like you can even see it if you're watching on YouTube. Like you can see the little like glaze that I've got going. That's just my skin. I didn't use any highlighter. I didn't use any of the stuff. That's just my skin showing through. So I like to stick to just the tinted sunscreen. That's what works for me. I use Ilia, but I also use Selena Gomez's brand, which for some reason, Rare Beauty, for some reason it was slipping my mind, Rare Beauty. So I use both of those ones, just kind of depending on how I'm feeling. To be fair, Ilia does not smell great. It is one of Sephora's clean beauty brands, but I switched to Rare Beauty just because it smells a little bit better, but I do like both. I think they both give me like enough coverage for what I'm looking for, and I like that they both are giving you SPF coverage. When I'm not wearing the tinted sunscreen, when I'm not wearing makeup, I do, if I remember, try to put on a facial sunscreen that I have, just because it's really important to protect our skin. The skin on our face can be really sensitive to the sun too. So SPF it up, baby, because the sun can be really damaging to your skin. So as much as you remember, try to wear sunscreen. So that's what I do. And really just in general, be nice to your skin, be nice to your hair, be nice to your body. I always say that what is happening on the outside is a symptom of what is happening on the inside of your body. So if you're struggling with breakouts for some reason randomly, then that is just your body communicating with you. Try not to hate your body. Try not to hate your skin for doing something like that because truly it's just trying to show you that something is off, right? So, for example, when you get breakouts along your jawline or on your chin, lots of times that's hormonal acne. So, it could be just based on the time of the month. Maybe it will be good for you and for your mental health just to track when it's happening because if it's related to your period, then that's something, at least personally, is easier for me to forgive because I'm like, well, it's hormonal. Like it's my body doing what it's supposed to be doing. And on that note, actually, with hormonal acne, this is one of my favorite little tips, my favorite little facts, rather, that I found out, and I just love it. So, whichever side of your chin that you're breaking out on around your period, that's actually the egg. So the side of the egg that you are ovulating from. So if you're breaking out on the right side of your chin, which I think YouTube is actually mirrored, so maybe it looks like the left to you guys, but if you're breaking out on the right side of your chin, then that means you're ovulating from your right ovary. And if you're breaking out on the left side of your chin a little bit more in your jaw, then that means you're ovulating from the left side. And ever since I learned that, I'm like, if I break out when I'm about to have my period or during my period, I kind of find it like kind of fun. Like, oh, that's my little ovary that's having my period for me, you know? So maybe that's something that will help you guys too, just because I think that's so interesting that our body can talk to us in those different ways about what's going on the inside. So really just instead of being mad at your skin for things like that, like try thanking it for just letting you know what's up, what's going on, you know? And so going on to hair care from skincare. I know that I have a really simple skincare routine. But that's really like what works for me. Moving on to hair care, I also have kind of oily hair in general. So I have been training my hair for a long time now. When I was younger, and even really just maybe like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, I would wash my hair every single day just because it would get really oily, really greasy by the end of the day. So I felt like I had to. But if you haven't heard of hair training, it's more so just forcing yourself to not wash your hair as much so that your hair can kind of balance itself out. And so the pH can balance itself out and do all the things that it's supposed to do. Because really, our bodies are good at keeping things clean naturally. So If you're having like oily hair like me, one that could just be like related to the foods you're eating, but it could also just be like your or your scalp needing a break from all the products that you're using in it. Because if you're drying out your scalp with shampoo every day, your body kind of works overtime producing more oils to make up for the dryness that is getting caused by the shampoo every day. So I've been trying that out. So I have been washing my hair for a while now, every 3 days. So if I wash it on Monday, for example, then I won't wash it again until Friday. So there's 3 days in between when I wash it. And I know that sounds like it might sound like a long time to some of you, and to some of you, I know that probably sounds like a short amount of time, but that's kind of what works for me. And even then, by the end of that third day, like to be fair, my hair does get pretty greasy. Like I wear a lot of buns. I wear my hair up a lot on those last few days, but I have noticed ever since I've started doing this that my hair is so much healthier than it used to be. So one, it doesn't get greasy or oily nearly as quickly as it used to. But two, on the days that I do wash it, I just notice that my hair is one, it just has that healthy sheen to it, which is what we're all looking for. And it just feels so healthy. It doesn't break as easily. My hair has gotten really long. It's been growing faster. So a lot of really good benefits to that I've noticed. I also sometimes use dry shampoo. So if I'm in between hair washes, then I will use dry shampoo. I do have a homemade dry shampoo that I use, and it's actually really easy to make at home. So it's cornstarch, a little bit of baking powder, cocoa powder because I have darker hair, and then some essential oils. So that's all you need to mix it up. I forget the exact ratios, but I'll try to find the like recipe that I used for it and link it in the comments. So it's really easy to make an at-home one. If you're blonde, then just don't put the cocoa powder in it. And then of course you have to like rub it in so that you're not seeing all this like dandruffy looking stuff in your hair like any dry shampoo you do. So I have that, but I also do have an aerosol dry shampoo that I use sometimes. I know I don't use that. Well, I kind of switch between the two just depending on what's going on because I feel like I get more volume when I use the aerosol dry shampoo. But also I know that like aerosol dry shampoos just really aren't good for you because when you use an aerosol product, you're breathing a lot of that in. But I mean, I'm still here using it sometimes just based on what I want to do. So like again, that's your own individual choice on how you want to work that. And then something for me too, and this has just been something like throughout my whole life, I rarely use heat on my hair. Like I have very naturally like straight hair. I have very fine hair, so I really don't use a lot of heat on it. I really don't need to. It dries really quickly just naturally, so I don't really need to blow dry it all that much. And when I do, it's more so just for fun because I wanted to do it or I wanted to experiment with the round brush or something like that. I know for some women that have like really thick hair, like you have to blow dry or else it like starts to smell kind of mildewy, is what I've been told. I do not have that problem personally, so I do not need to blow dry my hair every day. Also, since I have really straight hair, like I really don't need to straighten it every day, and I don't need to curl it every day either. So I like to curl my hair just like when I want to feel a little bit dressed up or when I'm doing something special. That's a personal preference, so I don't really even curl it all that often. Sometimes I do sleep in braids, and that makes like those beachy waves. So I'll put two French braids in and then I'll sleep in it. And that makes those beachy waves. So again, that's kind of avoiding heat while still giving me a different hairstyle than just straight. But for the most part, I really don't use that much heat on my hair, which is actually really healthy for your hair. And then when I do use heat on my hair, I try to remember to use a hair protectant that I have for that, just to again help protect my hair from the heat a little bit more. Hi, Lovebug. I've got a juicy little gift for you. And if you've been feeling off, stuck in your head, or like your vibe just is not vibing lately, then this is for you. I created a free guide called The 3 Secrets to Creating a Magnetic Energy Shift right now. And it's exactly what you need to start shifting your energy instantly. These are the exact tools I use with my private coaching clients when they're ready to stop chasing and start attracting. We're talking powerful, we're talking practical, and yes, of course, we are talking a little bit woo, but in the best possible way. In the guide, you will learn how to clear energetic blocks, activate your most irresistible frequency, shift into receiving mode, And there's even a bonus secret on how to use your body language to instantly boost your confidence and presence. So, if you're ready to feel like the version of you who turns heads, magnetizes opportunities, and walks through the world like the main character, then this is your sign. Head to the show notes and click the link to download your free copy. It is quick, it is powerful, and it is going to leave you feeling like, damn, I really am that girl. All right, let's get back into the episode. What I do too, or at least what I try to do, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really been that consistent with this lately, but I do like to do either a coconut oil hair mask or an argan oil hair mask once a month. When I remember, just I set it in there for like all day and let it sit in there all day. That's easy for me to do because I work from home, so I can just pick a day where I'm not gonna go out, so I don't have to have like grease dripping all over or not grease, but like oil, coconut oil dripping all over. So that's easy for me to do. Maybe you do it on a weekend one day, but I've noticed that that really helps with my hair as well, just because having a deep mask like that that kind of penetrates through is really good for your hair and really good for your scalp too in the long term. And when I do that, if I'm sleeping in the mask instead of wearing it during the day, then I also have a silk bonnet that I wear around my hair. One, so that it doesn't get my pillows all ruined with all the oil, but two, because silk bonnets kind of help keep it all in here and do what it needs to do. And silk is really just gentle on your hair too. And one thing about this that I really like, I actually use the Yucca app a lot. So I don't know if y'all have heard of it, but the Yucca app is basically this app that can scan for any of those like harsh ingredients. You can use it for food, you can use it for beauty products. I've tried to use it on cleaning products, but it doesn't really do a good job of rating cleaning products because I think it doesn't really know how. But the Yucca app, it's Yuka. This is something that you can use to rate your products when you're shopping. So there's a free version, there's also a paid version. I just have the free version, but you can go in the store, pick up the product, scan the QR code, and it rates it on a scale of 0 to 100 of like how good for you it actually is. So some of these products that I really love, like when they get close to 100 or 100, like it's amazing, phenomenal, like let's get it, because it's really hard with beauty products sometimes to get up to that level. But it's really fun to kind of experiment with it because sometimes the brands that we think are actually like should be good for us brands, like a lot of their stuff is not rated highly on this app. And I thought that was really informative for me to experience that because some of the things just like were not good for you. And the app will like list the ingredients in these different products that are not good for you so that you can kind of start to learn what that means and how it affects your body. I'm pretty sure if you have the paid version, then they also like will recommend other products. Or actually, I think they recommend products on the free version too, but on the paid version, I think you can search for specific products and you can't necessarily search for specific products on the unpaid version. But I think this is an app that's really, really useful. So when I'm looking at beauty products, this is something that I like to scan. I like to scan them just to see like if I can get something that has healthier ingredients in it for me because I mean, women's beauty products perpetually have ingredients that are not good for you. So I like to do what I can in that department because I do like to wear makeup. I do like to get dressed up. It's not something that I want to give up, but I feel like the more that I can support myself in it and feel like I'm doing something good for myself. Sorry about that. My roommate just got home, so my dogs were barking. But anyways, I just like to use it because it just helps me feel like I'm being a better consumer for myself. And really, it just helps me be more aware of what I'm putting in, on, around my body on a general day so that I can be a little bit more aware and a little bit healthier. So the next thing that I do as part of my self-care routine is I get movement every single day in one form or another. I do like to exercise. I like to go to the gym. I like to do cardio. I like to do all of those things. But there's some days that like I just go on a walk with my dogs in the morning. It's about a mile loop around this park near my house. Perfect. I do that. I just really like getting exercise, and it's really good to move our bodies, especially if you're able to get morning exercise, some morning movement in. That's really good for your body, especially if it's like with that first morning sunlight. That's also really good for your body. In general, I'm just like a lot lenient with I'm a lot more lenient with myself with my exercise routine. So in the past, I have been very strict with myself with my exercise, and that was due to like other insecurities that I had around my body, but I've learned to be more lenient with myself. So rather than forcing myself to exercise when I'm not feeling good or when I'm feeling super sore or something like that, I just allow myself to be flexible. So maybe instead of going on a run, when I'm really, really tired, I'll just go on a longer walk. Or maybe instead of doing super intense weights at the gym, maybe I'll just do like less exercise or like less sets or less like different exercises at the gym and take it a little bit easier. So maybe instead of seven different exercises, I'll do four or five. And even some days I skip, which like I never used to do that. There were some days that I used to even do like two workouts in a day, which there are people that do that. It's for different reasons. If you're doing it for healthy reasons, like you go for it, but I was not doing it for healthy reasons. So since the why behind it was not healthy, like me doing it was not healthy. But overall, just getting movement throughout the day, whatever that looks like for you, is really, really good for your body. And it's a really good foundational step if you're not feeling good. So, movement, exercise is really good, not just for our physical health, but also for our mental health. Because again, we're talking about that mind body feedback loop, but also because it helps us process those different emotions when we're doing that bilateral movement. And then the next piece that I want to talk about with my self-care routine is the food that I eat. So, that saying you are what you eat really, really is true. Like what you are putting into your body literally becomes your body and it literally becomes your fuel. So if you are feeling shitty, if you are feeling lethargic, if you're feeling tired or cranky or grumpy or like sad all the time, then likely it has something to do with the foods that you're putting into your body. And part of this is because there's this nerve that connects our guts directly to our brain. So our guts are directly speaking with our brain and vice versa all the time. So when you're eating a food that is either not good for you, ultra processed, maybe you're a little bit allergic to it without realizing it, then that's sending inflammation and all those signals from your gut directly up to your brain. So, if you notice yourself feeling icky or feeling down or feeling angry or upset or feeling kind of cryy after you eat certain foods, then maybe take a look at it and just experiment with cutting back on some of those foods that you typically eat. So, something as an example for me is that I try to not eat too many processed foods. I really like to make foods at home as much as I can. And I know that we're not all cooks here, okay? I'm not telling you that you have to go and be Betty Crocker, but you would be surprised at how easy it is to make a lot of these things yourself at home. So like bread is pretty easy to make. Even just like sauces are pretty easy to make. There's recipes all over the place. My go-to for that is Pinterest. I love Pinterest for different recipes. Really, once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy to make a lot of these things yourself. And I'm also a baker. I've been baking since I was a kid. So baking feels easy to me, but I know that it's not that easy for some people out there. But the more you practice, the better you get at it. And really, just when you're able to make things yourself at home, you know exactly what's going into it. It's not going to have all those like weird chemicals and preservatives that it has in the store. It won't have nearly as much sugar in it as it does in the store because you're controlling everything that goes into it. And really, just when you're making your food yourself, I feel like it gives you this like sense of accomplishment, right? Or at least speaking personally, it gives me a sense of accomplishment like, hey, I made all of this myself. And something that I like to do because I do get snacky and I do like to have food that like I don't have to make a full fucking meal every single night, right? So like I food prep. I like to make like a big meal that I can eat throughout the week without having to cook every single day and without having to do the dishes that come from cooking every single day. But also, like on the weekend, sometimes I like to make big batches of food that I can just keep in the freezer. So then this is gonna sound a little bit more advanced, but recently, like I got a pasta maker attachment for my KitchenAid, so I made like little raviolis that I can keep in my freezer and just pop those out on the nights that I just don't want to cook anything. I can just boil a pot of water and put the raviolis in, and then like good. But it's also something that I made pre-made. In the past, I've also made like pizzas to just keep in the freezer. I like flash freeze them and then you wrap them up and then you can just pop them in the oven like a normal like take and bake pizza. Even like really just anything, you can experiment and have fun with it, which is really cool. But then you can also have those ready to go foods at your fingertips on those nights that you don't really want to cook. And on that same note too, even if you don't want to cook yourself, I feel like if you can focus on getting foods that are higher quality foods and have better ingredients in them, if you are able to, then that's an amazing place to start too. So I know that not everybody out there can afford organic food, but as much as you can, like I would encourage you to try with some of those things to get organic, even if you can't get everything organic. I know that things can be more expensive, but if you can, like that's a really good place to start, even with one or two things. So for me, I'm really lucky because in the summer, my dad has a garden. So I get to get a bunch of veggies from my parents whenever I go up to visit them. But then they also have chickens. So I also get to get eggs from my parents when I go up and visit them, which is really cool. So I get all this really fresh produce, like straight off the vine, straight from the chickens. Again, I know that's not possible for everybody, but as much as you can, just start to take notice of the quality of the food that you're putting in your body and the quality of food that you're buying. And on the same note, too, there's actually a book, which I think I might, hold on. I think I might have it here. One of my drawers next to me. I do. Um, so it's this book. It's called This Is Your Brain on Food. It's by Uma Naidoo, and I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I love this book. She literally goes through and she talks about how she got cancer and how she had basically no symptoms when she, or like minimal symptoms, I guess I should say, when she was going through chemo. And she attributes that a lot to the diet that she had and how she was eating really healthy when she was going through the chemo. But really, just in general, she kind of goes through and relates different foods to different mental health struggles that you might be going through. So depression, PTSD, ADHD, OCD, anxiety, all those different things that people struggle with. She kind of goes through the list of foods that could be making those conditions worse and how to make them better. Because again, there's that direct connection between your gut and between your brain. So if this is something that you're interested in, I highly recommend this book. You can get it on Amazon. I'll link it in the show notes for anybody who's not watching on YouTube. But very, very interesting book. I love this book. And kind of like a subset of the like food conversation is that I like to juice. So I have a juicer. It's from like fucking years ago when I was in college, so like a long time ago. But I got this a really long time ago, this juicer. So the one that I have honestly is pretty noisy at this point. You can get some really nice ones that probably do a better job with the juicing and probably do it a lot quieter than mine does on Amazon. But I really like juicing. I think it's fun, and I do when I do it. To be fair, like I go through periods where I do it really consistently and then I kind of stop for a while and then I'll do it consistently and then I stop for a while. And that's my own journey to work through. But I do notice a difference in how I feel and how I kind of like look when I'm juicing. So I do notice that my skin looks a lot healthier, my hair is a lot healthier when I'm juicing, my overall mood seems a lot better when I'm juicing, and it makes sense because when you're juicing, you're getting a bunch of nutrients all packed into this little cup that normally it would take a really, really long time to eat and you would feel full before you're able to get them because all the fiber when you're eating it is still in there. And when you're juicing, like the fiber is going out, so you're getting all those nutrients like condensed down into this little cup. And I have a couple different recipes that I kind of bounce around with, but like the cool thing about juicing is that you can experiment and try whatever works best for you and you can do whatever tastes best to you. When you're juicing, I would say that you do want it to be more veggie heavy than fruit heavy so that you can kind of monitor those sugars in it, but I like to add fruit into it just because it makes it taste better because I mean, I like for it to taste good, but usually I do like 2 to 3 veggies for like every type of fruit. So if I'm doing a green juice, I'll do like celery, kale, green apples, ginger, and then I top it off with coconut water. So I'll put all those in. I'll fill up the rest of the pitcher with coconut water, and voila, then I have it for the week. That's how I like to do it, but I kind of like to do it based on color. So I like to do a green juice, an orange juice, and I call it a red juice, but I guess it's more like purpley in color. Uh, but anyways, happy to share those recipes that I use with you guys. All you have to do is DM me, leave a comment for that, and I'm happy to DM you all the juice recipes that I use. But it's fun, and I think that you really get used to the more veggie taste of it. But I do really like the juicing part of my self-care routine. Something that is really important for your self-care also that I think sometimes is overlooked is actually taking the time to set boundaries and to stick to your personal boundaries. So when you're setting boundaries, that's just a protection for yourself and for your mental health. So I think that's a very, very important part of actually taking care of ourselves and making sure we're in a good mental state to be able to handle all the rest. Because as we all know, when our mental state is kind of in the trash, then everything else feels a lot harder to accomplish. So just practice setting those boundaries, keeping your boundaries. It doesn't have to be aggressive. You don't have to be aggressive when you're setting boundaries. Just make sure that you're sticking to the boundaries that you do have. And on that same note, part of like setting boundaries is setting boundaries with yourself. So, for example, better time management. If you're feeling stressed throughout the day, then likely you need to stop mindlessly scrolling on your phone. Maybe you just need to stop doing like mindless activities at work or just to fill the time. Like I'm a true believer in that my time is valuable and I'm not going to fill it with these like with work just to work, right? I'm not going to fill it with busy work. I'm going to fill it with work that is meaningful and with activities that are meaningful. And that's not to say that I don't scroll. I do like scrolling. But if you're sitting here and you're stressed and you feel like you don't have enough time in the day, then I think it's time for you to look and prioritize about how you're actually spending your time. And I think just in general, too, a good note about your self-care routine is that it's not about being this like perfect, healthy, amazing person, right? Like, yes, that's like what we want to be, but like the biggest part of self-care is listening to your body and listening to your mind and listening to your soul about what you need in that moment. So sometimes self-care is going to look like eating really healthy. Sometimes it's going to look like vegging out in your bed, eating a bowl of mac and cheese and an ice cream bar. Like both are okay to do, and I think both are actually necessary to do because if you go too far either way, then my personal belief is that it's not very healthy for you to go too strict either way. Really, just when you're thinking about your self-care, really allow that flexibility to come in so that you can kind of conform and flow with what you're actually needing in the moment. And I think that too just allows us for to be humans. It allows for the humanness to show through because we were not meant to be these like machines that just produce an output and like come across as like amazing all the time. Like the whole self-care thing is about, hey, like I need a break sometimes. I need a rest. I need to take a step back because something about life is feeling overwhelming. But self-care is also like doing those preventative tasks to make sure that that doesn't happen in the first place. So yeah, it's just about being flexible, listening to your body about what it needs, and doing that in the short term and also in the long term. So I hope this was helpful for everybody. I know that it's a quicker episode today, um, but I will see y'all next week. I love you. Bye. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you liked what you heard, then go ahead and subscribe so you get updates with us every week. You can also follow us on Instagram at KRC Coaching. If you're interested in working one-on-one, then go ahead and visit our website, krccoaching.com, to book your first 30-minute session for free. All right, thanks so much, you guys. Love you. Bye.